Okay, thanks, Stuart, and thanks, everybody. Those were two fantastic, really dynamic papers. And I'm just going to say at the beginning of all this, my brain is not quite connecting properly because I'm still on a 16-hour time lag difference. So that's my excuse for everything I'm going to say. But one of the things that really struck me between those two presentations was Xiaodong's. At the beginning, there was the slide of the students, I think, the questionnaire with the students who responded to things about being a scientist that said things like smart, famous, brilliant, cold, and logical. And then I was struck minutes later to be faced with that slide of the welfare office. And so I just started to think about that enormous gap that we always face between, and about where we are sitting in Columbia in this kind of seat of incredible privilege, and how much we're failing all the time in education to bring in the people who really need to be educated. That's an enormous thing, and I'm just observing the difference between those two things. I'm really struck by Luce's focus on the question and the skill of asking questions. But that also makes me feel really sad and lament the fact that it becomes increasingly difficult, I think, in education as educators to allow students the space to sit in a space of speculation. And I've really noticed that in the UK in the last 10 years as fees have come in. And I know fees were always here in the States, but and I was here, actually, I was a graduate student here at NYU, so I kind of became I became used to the culture of education that you had to pay for and pay for the rest of your life. But in England, sort of watching that wave come in and watching how that's really changed the students' ability to think that they can sit in a space of speculation, 1 minute left, for 3 years and have the luxury of failing and the luxury of taking risks in their thinking at all. I find it a really difficult thing. So it's kind of brilliant to hear you putting the skill of asking questions at the beginning of what your project is, Luce. A couple of other things, role models of persistence. I was thinking about, and that was in Xiaodong's presentation, trying to expose students to models of persistence. I think that's really critical too, because everybody wants a really fast answer to everything. Students come to me all the time and say, just tell me how to get a first. I just want to know how to get a first on this paper. And the struggle that you both talked about, actually, and sitting in the struggle is an almost impossible thing to do. I don't know what the answers are to that at all, but those things really strike me. And I think about trying to teach them stick-at-itness and trying to also teach them to think about sticking with the aim rather than the goal and sticking with the process rather than the product. And now my time is up. So, thanks.